Hello and welcome to a new Horanna video. This will be a bit different. In preparation for the new chapter of Elder Scrolls Online, Greymoor, this time we will be delving into a short guide for new WoW players getting into ESO. So, you heard of the new Misc expansion for ESO and you are eager to try it, but how do you? The easiest way to use is the Elder Scrolls Online Zone website. I'd avoid Steam, since it more often than not creates conflicts of various kinds. Link below. The Elder Scrolls Online first thing to know is that it follows buy-to-play model with DLCs on top. Once you buy the game and the last chapter, you're set for any non-DLC content. Yet, as you surely have noticed if you check the site, there is also subscription on top. The subscription is for an enhanced experience of the game, including quicker experience and gold, the ability to dye costumes, but most importantly, access to all DLCs and to the crafting bag, an infinite bag in which your crafting materials are kept. Not to mention all the money spent on the subscription gets converted into the in-game store currency. For a full depth experience, this subscription is highly recommended. That said, the in-game store or crown store doesn't sell anything gameplay worthy, aside some shortcuts for alts to avoid repeated grinds, but it's nothing you can't obtain via playing the game normally for free. Power-wise, there is no pay to win, but only a number of cosmetic stuff such as mounts or costumes. The content releases follow normally this pattern: one dungeon DLC in January-February, a chapter or expansion in mid-spring, another dungeons DLC mid to late summer, and a last-minute zone DLC in late autumn, for a total of 4 updates per year. Now that we got the business model out of the way, here's the character creation screen. ESO has 9 or 10 if you buy the specific DLC races, divided into 3 factions. Differently from WoW, the faction you choose is irrelevant for any world or instance content, aside 2 different battlegrounds or swords that are specifically tied to the faction war. Meaning, you can do dungeons and trials with your friends regardless of factions, and, to add to this, with the right DLC you can also make a race part of any faction you wish for. Any race can be any class, and any class can be any role: tank, DPS or healer, and the best combination is, as always with any moves, fluctuating to say the least, so my personal advice is to pick whichever class and race you find more appealing. It won't cripple you, and, as I'll explain later, it will be a long time before you reach that maximum power threshold in which race becomes actually relevant. Once you pick the race, you will spend a lot of time to customize your character, so for brevity, we'll skip ahead to the actual game. As usual, for Elder Scrolls game, your character will find him or herself in prison at the start, and the short tutorial will get you the basics of movements and attack. The game doesn't work without text and doesn't work with click or tap targeting. Your character will attack or interact with whatever's on its front, and you'll have to click or hold the clicking in order to perform a single attack, while you can also have up to 5 active skills at any given time on use. Normal attacks also contribute to the restoration of resources, mana and stamina, so at higher levels the importance of weaving normal and special attacks can't be overestimated. Every level you gain will earn you stat points and 1 or few skill points that you can spend in any skill tree available to you, not just your specific class trees, but also those bound to weapons or even crafting. Each skill tree has its own way to be leveled, but most of the base ones can be just progressed via equipping a piece of gear of the right type or keeping a skill in the skill bar as you level. On that note, as expected, every character can wear any kind of gear. There are other ways to obtain skill points, such as completing story quests indicated with a specific symbol on the map, or hunting for sky shards in the world. As a rule, you do not need all those skill points to play your character at level cap, but they're certainly handy. As for the level cap, there are 3 level caps in the game, depending if we are meaning character specific, gear wise, or account wise. Each character needs to maximize at level 50. At level 50, you will unlock access to the champion points, an account-bound progress system in which you can set points in specific constellations in order to raise your character power in fields such as melee DPS, protection, resilience to various kinds of damage, proficiency with specific armor types, and so on. The level you reach with this system is account bound, so once you reach 50 on a character, you will have immediately access to all the points, completely customizable separately per every character you've earned before. The champion level, up to 160, will also be bound to the quality of gear you can obtain and equip from quests and drops, with 160 level being the cap. As of today, the maximum level is 810, and that's a long grind. Suffice to say that I had yet to reach it after having done every quest and every dungeon of the game on my main character. You may have noticed I said gear drops depend on your level, and that's because every single part of the game's content, with some exceptions being veteran dungeons for example, scale with you. Out in the world, you'll be able to explore freely without being either too low or too high in power for the area you're in. On a side, it means the world is completely open for you to explore and to level through, but at the same time, it also means that aside the highest champions point levels, you will never really be out-leveling the content so much you can just shrug off incoming damage from various mobs. That said, it's rare for ESO areas to be overcrowded, so it's not a huge problem. ESO zones in general follow a relatively simple pattern to play through, a main quest line and series of areas dotted around the map with side stories related with the main plot. Around the area, there is also a number of dungeons and delves, meaning solo dungeons, each with a sky shard to be found inside. Dungeons in ESO can be queued for via the dungeon finder as well, and they normally follow the pattern of 1 tank, 1 healer, 2 DPS. Raids, or trials as they're called, are 12 people experiences instead, usually out new ones twice per year. So miscellanea. Bags are just slots whose numbers you can expand buying them from vendors. There is no buying specific bags. The ESO Plus crafting bag is as said infinite, and crafting items will automatically be put in there once obtained, and even if you turn off the subscriptions, they can always be picked up. The bank is also account bound, and the main way you can pass items from one main character to another. Mounting requires obtaining a mount, and it can be upgraded in terms of speed, stamina, and even backspace at specific vendors, and the upgrades are character, not mount specific. Transmogrification in ESO happens via specific crafting tables and is bound to a full set, basically allowing you to create a full costume, but not permitting to transmog single pieces at any given time. There is no auction house or market table, as all trade non-character to character is guild based, with each guild having specific areas to access to their vault. In change, you can be part of up to 5 guilds at any given time. I hope you found this short introduction interesting and useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and next week we'll discuss the new chapter of ESO in more detail. See you there.